Let's take another look at an example here. In this case, I'm asking you to circle and name the functional groups in this large molecule. So you have to look very carefully at the molecule to decide what the functional groups are. So take a look at it. See if you can find functional groups. You should find 4 functional groups. Okay. Right here you'll see this is a carboxylic acid functional group. Carboxylic acid functional group. This is an amide. See the nitrogen bound to the carbon, and in this case the nitrogen is bound to 3 carbons. It doesn't matter as long as there's a nitrogen in there bound to 3 things. It's going to be an amine, but since it's next to a double bond, then that's the amide functional group. And then we have another carbon bound to nitrogen with a double bond, amide functional group. And then this, remember, is the phenyl functional group. There's also a sulfur on here, and sulfur adds functionality, but we can cover that. We'll note that there is a sulfur, which is different than carbon or hydrogen. Okay, this molecule is something you're probably very familiar with. It happens to be called penicillin. It is the line angle drawing of the molecule penicillin, which is a common antibiotic. I'll show you a look at this as we start to understand, as we move forward and start to understand how these different shapes and these different molecules with different functional groups and different shapes have different functionalities. There's a great resource. Let's see, where you can look at the 3D structure of these molecules, and this is the 3D structure of penicillin, and see if you can find the functional groups looking at it this way. Okay, remember these things can move all around in different directions. Right here you see this is the phenyl group, and the phenyl group is hydrophobic, it doesn't like water, and it's also planar, so it gives some unique shape on the end of this molecule, which could be important right here. See how it's planar? Here's an amide functional group right here in the middle. And then you can see the yellow is the sulfur, and then there's the other, let's see, what's this over here? Okay, you can see the 2 amide functional groups, and back over here is the carboxylic acid, the red, is the oxygen, so you see the carboxylic acid. So this is a great model to look at these structures from different angles. Okay. Alrighty. So it's got all kinds. If you look at it down this way, it looks very narrow, but then if you flip it over to its side, it looks much thicker. Okay. And there's other ways you can do with this. You can do this space filling as opposed to this, and that's a good look at the molecule. It's a nice look at the functional, the phenyl group right there, and then the rest of the hydrophilic end of it over here to the right. Okay, there's one more molecule here at the end that I'd like for you to take a look at. This particular molecule is Valium. You may have heard of this one as well. This is a common pharmaceutical. Take a look at it and see if you can find the functional groups. Okay, well, there's a phenyl group here and a phenyl group here. Those are what we call phenyl groups. We didn't go over it in our table, but halides are those elements that are in the halogen group, group 7 in the periodic table. Those are also considered functional groups. So that's a halide, halide functional group there. And then we've got a nitrogen here, double bound to a carbon and single bound to a carbon. It's got 3 bonds on it. There's no oxygen bound to it, so this is still considered an amine functional group right here. And then here we've got the nitrogen that's bound to carbon with a double bond to oxygen, so this one here is called an amide. So I have lots of homework, and then you can look if you want on your own to see the 3D structure of Valium, and see how when you actually put it into the 3 dimensions how it looks. Again, later on this semester or in this unit, I'm going to have you do an exercise where you look at some of these. So what I want you to do now is go ahead and do your homework. You have a lot of homework to practice identifying and naming functional groups.